Welcome to the AI Newsreel for the week of April 25th through May 1st, 2026. This week we have news about the latest tech releases, directions in AI architecture, applications of AI for productivity, and the impact of AI on the world. Let's get started.
Core tech releases. Tencent launches HY3 Preview open source model. Tencent released HY3 Preview on April 24th, the first major model from its rebuilt Hunyuan pipeline. The mixture of experts model carries 295 billion total parameters, 21 billion active, and a 256,000 token context window. Tencent rebuilt its pre-training and reinforcement learning infrastructure from scratch in February 2026 and reached public release in under 3 months. The model scores 74% on SWE Bench Verified and delivers a 40% improvement in inference efficiency over its predecessor. Free access is available for 2 weeks via OpenRouter. OpenAI misses revenue and user growth targets. Reported April 28th that OpenAI missed internal targets for user growth and revenue. The company fell short of a goal of 1 billion weekly active ChatGPT users and missed several monthly revenue targets in 2026, as Anthropic gained ground in coding and enterprise, while Google Gemini took consumer share. CFO Sarah Fryer warned colleagues the company may struggle to fund future compute contracts if growth does not accelerate. OpenAI and Fryer jointly called the report ridiculous. Shares of Oracle, Nvidia, Broadcom, and AMD each fell on the news. Meta launches Muse Spark, its first closed AI model. Meta unveiled Muse, formerly codenamed Avocado, in early April as the company's first AI model to move away from the Open Llama line. Ahead of first quarter earnings, CNBC reported the model showed early promise in boosting Meta's core advertising business. Meta indicated it plans to offer paid developer access, aligning with monetization approaches from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. Analysts at Loop Capital said Muse Spark's release shows Meta is producing models that could further improve its dominant ad platform, even if they do not outperform rival systems on benchmarks.
Directions in AI architecture. Post-train bench shows agents near human AI research ability. A new benchmark from METR and Epic AI called post-train bench tests. Whether frontier AI agents can autonomously post-train language models, a core task in AI research and development. Each agent receives a small base model, one H100 GPU, and 10 hours to improve performance through fine-tuning with no starter code or human guidance. Results updated April 24th show frontier models are already within striking distance of a human baseline on the task. Jack Clark of Import AI wrote he expects a system to beat the human baseline by September 2026, calling the benchmark a warning shot for self-improving AI. Sakana AI's Fugu Beta coordinates fleets of frontier LLMs. Sakana AI released Fugu Beta, a multi-agent orchestration system that dynamically coordinates pools of frontier language models using self-recursive test time scaling. The system reached top scores on SWE Pro and GPQA Diamond benchmarks. Fugu is positioned as a foundation model layer rather than a single model, routing tasks across underlying models at inference time. A public beta opened April 24 and runs through May 5th with an OpenAI-compatible API. The release reflects a growing architectural trend of using orchestration and dynamic routing to surpass the limits of any single model. Google's Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform targets business fleets. At Google Cloud Next in Las Vegas, CEO Thomas Kurian introduced the Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform, rebranding Vertex AI and merging Google Agent Space into a single product. The platform lets businesses deploy fleets of autonomous agents with persistent memory that can operate for days to complete multi-step processes. Google unveiled more than 260 updates at the event. Paid monthly active users of Gemini Enterprise grew 40% over the prior quarter, CEO Sundar Pichai said, with deals at Bosch, Mars, and Merck and multiple contracts exceeding $1 billion.
AI for productivity. Microsoft Copilot Agent Mode goes live across Office. Microsoft made Copilot Agent Mode generally available in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint on April 22nd, moving from a suggestion tool to an in-app collaborator that executes multi-step tasks directly on documents, spreadsheets, and presentations. The company cited major improvements in model reasoning and instruction following as what made the shift possible. On April 27th, Microsoft began rolling out Copilot Agent Mode for Outlook through its Frontier Early Access program, adding email triage, calendar management, and focus time blocking. The feature is included in existing Microsoft 365 Copilot and Premium subscriptions. Simon Willison traces the OpenAI and Microsoft AGI clause. Developer and blogger Simon Willison published a detailed April 27th post tracking the now-defunct clause in the OpenAI and Microsoft partnership that defined when artificial general intelligence would be reached and what rights it triggered. Willison documented the clause's history and its recent removal as the two companies restructured their commercial relationship. Separately, Willison reviewed LightParse, a browser-based PDF text extraction tool built on the same libraries as the Node.js LightParse project. His posts this week spanned model pricing, the Claude code quality rollback, and evolving agentic tooling. Rogo raises $160 million for finance AI agents. Rogo, an agentic AI platform built for investment banking, closed a $160 million Series D on April 29th, led by Kleiner Perkins with participation from Sequoia, Thrive, Khosla, and JP Morgan Growth Equity Partners. Total funding now exceeds $300 million. More than 35,000 finance professionals use Rogo's agent Felix, which runs deal screening, CIM generation, buyer outreach, and data room diligence. Customers include Rothschild, Jefferies, Lazard, and Nomura. The round follows a $150 million Series E for hospital AI platform ADOC the same week.
World impact. Meta cuts 8,000 jobs to fund AI infrastructure. Meta announced April 23rd it will cut approximately 8,000 employees, about 10% of its workforce, beginning May 20th, while also canceling 6,000 open roles. The company framed the cuts as structural and AI-driven, reorganizing teams into AI-focused pods under new Chief AI Officer Alexander Wang. Meta is projecting $115 to $135 billion in AI infrastructure spending in 2026, nearly double its outlay last year. Affected U.S. workers receive 16 weeks of base pay plus 2 weeks per year of service. More cuts are expected in the second half of 2026. Alphabet Q1 earnings show AI capex paying off in cloud. Alphabet reported first quarter 2026 revenue growth of 22%, its fastest in nearly 4 years, driven by Google Cloud crossing $20 billion in quarterly revenue for the first time. CFO Anat Ashkenazi cited unprecedented internal and external demand for AI compute and reported a cloud backlog of $462 billion, nearly double the prior quarter. Alphabet raised its full-year capital expenditure guidance to $180 to $190 billion. CEO Sundar Pichai said paid Gemini Enterprise users grew 40% quarter over quarter. OpenAI reportedly plans an AI-native smartphone. Analyst Ming-Chi Kuo reported April 27th that OpenAI may be developing a smartphone with MediaTek and Qualcomm supplying the custom chip and Luxshare, handling manufacturing. Rather than traditional apps, the device would rely on AI agents to complete tasks and maintain continuous context through a mix of on-device and cloud models. Owning the hardware would allow OpenAI to bypass App Store restrictions from Apple and Google. Chip specifications are expected by the first quarter of 2027, with mass production targeted for 2028. OpenAI declined to comment on the report.
That is your weekly summary of the news in artificial intelligence. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.